Welcome.
Hey! How you doing?
You're a terrifying mom. We really have to give a precursor every single time we start an episode to any of the guests that ever join. Like, hey, Dave's gonna scream in your ear, just so you're aware.
Oh, okay.
That generally goes on every time, and we haven't figured out a good way to get rid of it. And
You're hey.
Yeah, exactly.
Cut. Wait, no, what is it? Cut it out.
So thank you, Saget. No, it was Joey that was doing that all the time.
Yeah.
Anyways, hey, welcome to Gen X to Z.
X to Z, yes.
And back to X on the other side today. Ronda is a Gen X for sure.
This is the first time we've ever had Mom on the podcast.
This is Mom's first time on the podcast. Ronda, welcome.
Well, thank you.
So, Ronda, do you know why you're here?
I often question that.
I bet you do.
Why am I here?
I bet you do. I bet you do. So today we wanted to have a conversation, an interesting conversation, I hope for most of you, about storm chasing.
Hurricane Milton is on its way, and the two of you flew in last night at midnight, which is crazy. And it's supposed to hit, the airport shuts down tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. and then it was really supposed to start as of a couple hours ago, but it's kind of held back, and
yeah, well,
we'll see.
The interesting thing was yesterday at noon we hadn't decided to come.
Where you were gonna sleep.
And last night, or yesterday afternoon, as Ron and I were talking about it, we were like, we want to be in Florida for the storm.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to arrive after the storm. We don't want to be in transit during the storm. We want to be there as the storm comes in. And so, as I'm texting with my Florida friends saying, hey, I'm coming to town, do you want to grab coffee this week? Or, when the city shuts down, what are you doing? They're like, you do know most people are leaving, not coming. And so that's what created the kind of topic today, was why Dave MacDonald is that kind of person.
And
that jumps into problems and jumps into situations, and runs to the aid of hopefully other people, but also to circumstances. Why do I like those challenges in life? And that's why we wanted to bring Ronda in, because she's that challenge for me. No, not at all. Not at all. But Ronda does have a storm chaser kind of mindset as well. And maybe that's what was attractive about me to her. But Ronda, why do you think you like chasing storms? Why is that something that's of interest to you?
So it started when I was little. We would go camping a lot, my parents and I. And one time while we were camping, a storm hit us, and they were standing outside holding the poles of the tent down while my dog and I were down in the ditch watching a tornado. I can still see it clear as day go past us on the other side of the river. And really, probably not the smartest thing in the world to do, hold on to a tent while a tornado
Hold on to a parachute so that it can pull you away? Maybe not.
But they were bound and determined
not to lose their tent.
Not to lose their home. And they were not afraid to stand in the midst of it. And for me, that was a life lesson. That life throws you some pretty wicked turns. Sometimes you find yourself in the middle of a great big storm, but that doesn't mean you should climb into a shell and hide. It means you should stand up, face the storm, and find a way through it, not under it or over it, through it. And we have had some pretty big storms in our life, moving to a different country when we were 27, having twins when we were 25.
Yeah.
And
being unemployed 30 days later.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry for the 25-year-old in the moment.
That sounds horrifying. having twins and then becoming oh my word, talk about a storm. Yeah.
But you don't shy away from a storm. This is your life. You have to face things, and you have to get through them and do the hard thing. And I've always said to Dave, I'm a meat and potatoes first, dessert last girl. And it's just the way we look at life.
I'm dessert first, if you're wondering. If anybody out there has a question. I'm a dessert first kind of guy.
That's so funny. And 10 seconds ago, we were talking about how I'm just a little bit of both of you. And I like to eat a couple bites of my healthy food and then like one of my dessert. And then I eat more of the healthy and then like one of the dessert.
Oh,
so it's
funny.
Literally a mix. That is really funny.
So today we brought Culver's for lunch for Hannah.
It was delicious.
And I got scoop of the day while I was in the drive-thru and ate it before we came over.
There you go. Don't just say it.
We're just living our lives out honestly in front of y'all. So I think that it's important, like when you're that type of person who sees a problem or sees a challenge and turns into it or runs to it. I think that it's not about drama. For me, it's about I feel safer, no shock to anyone, when I'm in a position of control or influence. And so I feel like in the situation, coming down before the storm, I can be near you and what's going on with your first house, and I can be near our home here and living in it and experiencing it there, which is a very safe place. And I would be more anxious being 24 hours away by car than being in the midst of the storm. Now, talk to me about a week from now, I might feel different.
Yeah, well, that is part of the interesting thing, right? That you only know what you know until you don't know it. And so we have never experienced a hurricane like this one before. We've only experienced much smaller ones. And so it does make a lot of sense to be here for it and to sit through it and to hunker down. But the more experience you have, the more you learn. So I'll be interested to hear next time what we decide to do.
Yeah.
But how do you think that applies kind of through work and out of the actual weather situation?
Out of actual physical, yeah. I think that, so for me, Revolution Staffing was largely built on hiring difficult roles, maintaining, like hiring truck drivers, hiring 310T mechanics, hiring the hard jobs for people. And, what we've talked about a lot is earn our opportunities at the easier jobs by working on the harder jobs. So we start in the truck and work our way into the warehouse and then work our way into the building. Mm-hmm. And that's how we've succeeded with many of our favorite clients.
Oh my gosh, I wonder if that's because you like sandbagging so much, which is hilarious just to kind of apply to the weather analogy, because the sandbags are the things that you put around your house to protect yourself. And it's easiest to sandbag in those situations because nobody can fill the hard ones. And so if you go in and you say, I don't know, but I'm going to give you everything I can and we're going to try, you're just building based off of success rather than the mission and how that aligns with. That's just a funny
analogy.
Correlation.
It's a great analogy, and I like to succeed where other people fail, and I like to.
You like to try hard. You find value in being like, I know that that's hard. I know that this is challenging, but if it's challenging, all I can do is try.
Well,
and what's the worst that's gonna happen?
Right, and you're right that when you have a difficult role to fill and you fail at it, if you communicate through the process all the things that you're doing to try and succeed, the customers are never upset.
Right, because
so as long as you have good communication and you're failing, you can still win the day. But if you have poor communication and you're failing, then you're just a regular loser like everybody else. That might not be politically correct.
But it's said and it's on tape, so we continue on.
We're not going to change it. So
Oh,
this is what they live with every day, guys. This is typically this is where Ronda says that one's mine. I married that.
just a silent nod.
Just a silent nod.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, goodness gracious. Wow.
So, like, Hannah, how has that ideal from myself and your mom impacted you as you've grown into business and as you've kind of charted the types of things that you like to do to have influence on people?
I think that the main difference I see between myself and most people around me, I don't know, maybe I am, I don't know that I'm necessarily more resilient because of it, but I think that my behaviors around it, not emotions, perspective, perhaps is actually a better word, around them are much more resilient, just in the sense of like, yep, it's gonna be a big storm, and we're gonna have to walk through it, and we're gonna have to come out the other side, and when we get to the other side, we're gonna have to look at the damage and figure out what needs to be fixed, and yes, we are going to have to fix it, and that all makes so much sense to me and actually seems so simple, because I'm like, it just happens, that's the nature of life, that's just part of the process. And I think because of the nature of our family business, I've been able to experience going through that a couple more times than some of my peers around me.
Sure.
And so when I see something like this come, I'm like, what's going to happen?
What's
like,
going to be on the other side?
I look forward to seeing 72 hours from now and understanding how this all plays through. And not that I'm not a storm chaser. I'm not excited for it. Like, I'm not doomsday pumped to be prepping.
Right.
But I am very comfortable, I think, based on how you guys raised me and understanding how comfortable you are in my own ability to handle myself through those situations. So they don't really scare me very much.
Good.
Like, I'm not scared for the storm, whether it's this, whether it's work, whether it's whatever. Like, it doesn't set me back necessarily.
Sure.
Whereas I think a lot of other people, again, not that I'm necessarily more resilient to actually step through them, but I think that my mentality around them really helps me get through it easier.
Okay, can I ask you this question?
Please.
Because you've been very open about the fact that you have some anxiety.
Sure, absolutely.
How does anxiety and resilience come together? Because people would think that those are different things, that they're actually contrary.
Yeah.
And you actually have both.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you ask, because I was with Kiana, so my sister-in-law, this weekend, and we had been talking about anxiety, and she didn't really know that I had struggled with a lot of it. We were just discussing, and she's like, okay, but you have this one in this book, and you moved to a different country, and it was just kind of like, how did you do all of these things if you have anxiety?
I did it with anxiety.
Right, and so my answer was, my anxiety actually really helped propel me to get there. Because as soon as I am aware, I'm a very creative person, I come up with lots of ideas. As soon as I am aware of an idea, and I've sat on it long enough to know that it's not ridiculous, because again, the way that you guys raised me, you only say no to things that mean no. And so I've had that mentality, if there's a reason to say no to it, say no to it. If there's not a reason to say no to it, say yes to it. And then as soon as I've said yes to something up here, I have to start acting it out. And if I don't start acting it out, I start to get really anxious, because then I feel like I'm not doing what needs to be done. And so I don't know how to answer that question necessarily, because my anxiety propels me to do the next thing.
Action
decreases
your anxiety because you're taking control
of the situation.
Right. Now, Rhonda, you're one of the most resilient people I know.
Yes.
Like, you've overcome a lot of things in life, and not that we need to get into any of that, but like, what is it about you that makes you a resilient person, a person that's an overcomer?
Well, I just like to say that in my experience, life hands you hard times. It's inevitable. We will all have them. Mine are going to be different than the lady next door's, or yours. But I would just say that With that in mind, make decisions for yourself before the storm comes. This is what I would do to handle XYZ. These are the things I can do in my life to prepare for those hard times. Having money put aside in case you lose your job, for example. Only buy cars that have been checked, and you don't buy a car on a whim, but you actually go through due diligence. Like, you have to do things to set yourself up for success. And when you fix those hard times, you're ready, you're more prepared, you're mentally more stable, so that as you face them, you're not rocked so much because you know that you're going to have a hard time. And as you go through those hard times, keep in mind that you're building character, you're building strength, you're building capability that is going to grow you. So when you come out the other side, you're not this wet noodle that's on the ground and needs to be swept away, but you actually have done something in the midst of the storm.
The storm has grown you. It's built you into something stronger, better,
Absolutely.
faster.
It is an opportunity to make ourselves better. And aren't we all looking to do that, to make ourselves a better person, a better mother, a better worker, a better owner, whatever that is in our life? The end goal is to grow as a human being. So set yourself up for success. Prepare for the inevitable, whatever storm may be coming. Make good, smart decisions. And then look towards the end as an opportunity to be a better you. So, for example, I just had surgery on August 12th. It was much more significant than we anticipated, and the recovery is taking a lot longer than we anticipated. But during those times, I have done everything the surgeon said to do. And so when I would go back in, they were incredibly impressed that I was able to walk half a block. They were thrilled that I was doing my exercises. The physiotherapist was almost giddy with the amount of progress that I was making, stamina that I was building. And so I'm looking to be a better, stronger person at the end of this. And that means you have to face the storm and do the hard things.
Even through the scariest of things. I like that because it just really kind of comes back to the eyes, right? You're intentionally and intensely setting yourself up for success in the future.
Yes.
But for an employer or for an employee, the two type of people who listen to this podcast, like the biggest storms we see are, okay, an employer can't find the employees they need. Well, how can you preemptively set yourself up for success? You can call a staffing agency, just saying,
with integrity.
Right.
A staffing agency with integrity.
Or if you're an employee, again, you lose your job, you don't know what to do, you call an agency. Like there are tools around you that you can use through the storms, and you can preemptively set up those things so that when they happen, they're not quite so scary in the moment.
Well, and what I would say, you're suggesting in a very practical way, in a very specific way for businesses and employees, is true about all challenges in life. It's having relationships preset in place.
That's right.
With trusted advisors, with trusted people that can speak truth into your life and help you see hopeful moments and help you see the things that you're learning in the hard time that's going to make you better in the easy time. What is it they say? Hard times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make weak men. Weak men make hard times.
Yes.
It's a cycle where you have prosperity, and so you have had to work hard to get to prosperity. But when you have prosperity and things are easy, you take your foot off the gas and you relax a little bit. And when you relax a little bit, things get hard. And then you go back to work really hard and you do the things that take you to success, and it's cyclical.
Yeah.
And so, but it's a lot of it is about relationships and having trusted partners and relationships, and that's one of the things we love about being in a family business is we trust each other.
Yes.
Because we're in this together, because we are
better together. And with that,
with that, guys, thanks a lot for your time today. I hope this was helpful or interesting to you. And as always, check us out on x2z.org. If you have any questions, just shoot us an email. We'd love to help you in any way we can.
Yeah, and we will be in touch probably as soon as the storm is over.
Talk to you then.
Bye, guys. Yay!
I ran out of dry throat.